Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another great episode of On the Throttle with Jackie Van Ham and my buddy Josh, talking about all the awesome stuff going on out here in motorcycling and power sports. If you are new to the program, welcome. Welcome, new friend. Thanks for tuning in. As always, you can check out all of our previous episodes out on the interwebs. They live out here for infinity and beyond on our Motorcycle and Power Sports News Facebook page and Motorcycle and Power Sports News Facebook and YouTube pages. So make sure you go check out those videos, see what we get up to every single week out here.
Definitely.
Speaking of what's going on, there's a ton of news breaking right now. This time of year, it seems like lots of new bikes, lots of news is popping up. For this week's show, I want to talk to you about a beautiful chef's kiss, gorgeous new bikes from the folks over at Arch, as well as checking in on what's going on with the guys and gals over at American Flat Track Racing. What do you have going on in your neck of the woods, Josh?
Well, I occasionally do dumb things, so I like to have some safety measures in line. So I found something here that would allow me to wear 8 chest protectors and 7 back protectors and still be able to move, which I'm kind of interested in. And on top of that, I want all the bikes, but I found one that may have creeped up towards the top of the list. So we're going to talk about that one too.
Oh, well, it seems like you have a bike that you fall in love with every single week, but we're going
Correct.
to have to hear about that bike and more after this word from our sponsor. There are still billions of dollars available for businesses through the Employee Retention Credit federal tax credit program. Stenson Tamaddon has helped companies with less than 500 employees retrieve over $3.4 billion in tax credits through employee retention credits. Call Stenson Tamaddon today at 866-934-8461 today to start your application. That's 866-934-8461 to apply. Call now. Well, Josh, as promised, because this time of year all sorts of new bikes are hitting the interwebs out here and are making their reveals and debuts known, another gorgeous motorcycle just has been burning down the internets this
I
past week.
saw
This
this.
is the folks over at Arch. That's right. It's Bill and Ted's excellent motorcycle from Arch Company, founded by Keanu Reeves. This new bike was just released and premiered. They actually did a bit of a press launch so folks could ride the machine. This just hit the interwebs within the last handful of days, and it is a stunner. This is the Arch Motorcycle 1S Sport Cruiser, and as I said, it officially launched just a handful of weeks ago. It features loads of carbon fiber, billet aluminum, and a single-sided swing arm for good looks and performance. It's been 5 whole years since Arch Motorcycle introduced its second design, the 1S, at EICMA in 2017. Time has been exceptionally weird, though, right? We've been in the COVID
Just a little
time
bit.
loop. Who knows? Yeah, it's been 1 year, it's been 5 years. Who knows? It seems like forever. But the folks over at Arch have indeed released their next machine, and it is on your screen right now. This is absolutely gorgeous. It features a 124 cubic inch S&S V-twin, which makes a claimed 120 foot-pound of torque at the rear wheel. It's got a 6-speed gearbox, a fully adjustable Orland's suspension at both ends, front and rear, lets the riders dial in their preferred characteristics. Just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous bike. I just want to take a second and point out this is a bit of a departure because if I remember correctly, previous machines from the folks at Arch have had forward controls. This setup, if you want to throw the next slide up, I think I've got somebody riding it. This setup has a bit of a mid control, which I am going to cheer on and cheer about. I do love me a mid control. Forward controls are not my bag, but look at this gorgeous bike. I think this is so sleek and so stunning. If you've got an extra, I don't know, like $128,000 laying around, this could be in your garage, Josh. So another beautiful bike from the folks out at Arch. They had the chance to test ride this in the canyons outside Los Angeles, I believe. They've got one of the press riders on your screen right now riding this beautiful bike. Again, you can see that kind of mid rear-ish, almost like a rear set control on this bike. I think it's just super sharp. This is the 10th year anniversary of the Arch company, which also surprises me. But again, it's COVID time. 1 year could be 5 years. Who knows? But that's right. Keanu, Bill and Ted's Excellent Bike Adventure has been going on for 10 years now. No better way to celebrate than with this absolute stunner. The other thing I want to take a second and point out about the folks over at Arch are when you're dropping that 120 plus $1,000 on a bike, this is a bit bespoke. They do fit these motorcycles to their owners, which I think is a really nice touch. Again, if you're throwing that 120 grand down, why shouldn't it fit you just so? Another beautiful bike. I'm a little surprised by the 120 pound torque number. I did not see a horsepower number for this machine. I expected a little bit more oomph out of that 124 cubic inch SNS, but I mean, do numbers matter? Are numbers everything when you're riding this beautiful piece of art? What do you think about this bike, Josh?
I mean, it is beautiful, and I mean, I'm a function over form guy. So and I always talk about that, especially if anyone looks in my garage. That is painfully obvious. In the same sense, yeah, this is beautifully sculpted. It's anyone's going to get on this and have fun is the biggest part about it. And when you're spending that kind of money on a bike, you're obviously trying to get eyeballs on you, and this will definitely be a good way to do it. I mean, it's top shelf gear. Someone's going to love it.
Yeah, I agree. It's an absolute head turner.
Yeah.
It's super, super dead sexy and is just slathered in carbon fiber. And again,
Yes.
that billet aluminum, you can see the huge exhaust, that big can on the side, just tons of carbon fiber bodywork. I think even the guard at the very front looks like carbon fiber. That
Yep.
can is carbon fiber. The tank, I'm sure, is carbon fiber and aluminum. Anyway, just a real stunner from the folks over at Arch. I just wanted to give them a little bit of love at the beginning of the show because I thought this was just sexy. Woo! What do you got going on for your first story today, Josh? Speaking of sexy, what's going on in your neck of the woods? I'm
So
sure it's
yeah,
guaranteed. It's guaranteed to not be nerdy and definitely sexy, right, Josh?
that is 100%. I mean, well, it's Italian. So that is 100% exactly where we're going here. So Dainese has their Stelvio. See, this we're on that sexy. It is the D Air jacket. Now, this is a jacket with an airbag in it. So now they call it the D Air. Now remember, we're not talking about the second part of the airbag. This is not the D bag jacket. This is the D Air jacket. So there's a lot of interesting things with it. The basics about it, it's the D-Dry XT outer, so that way you can use it and stay dry. It is the D-Stone outer materials for abrasion resistance. And you guys know I typically focus on adventure and off-road stuff, but this isn't an adventure-specific jacket. It is geared more towards street use, but when you look at what it's got to it, I'd rock it also. So what it has that's interesting about it is it does have an airbag setup in it. Now, I talked about this with a Climb jacket a few weeks back. This works on a similar principle. Now, they've got their own in-house software that works with this too. Now, this uses the Pro 2.0 armor in the shoulders and the elbows. I mean, just the same spots that, I mean, when you fall down in the parking lot. Not that I've ever done that. It will protect you from that without going off. I do occasionally hear stories of people are standing around, they hear a loud bang, and someone fell over and their airbag went off. So yes, what this uses is it is standalone. You do not have to plug it into your motorcycle. You do not have to do anything with it. It has a 26-hour rechargeable battery. So unless you're out there doing iron butt stuff, it's good for the day. When you're in the hotel or wherever at night, plug it in, let it charge, and you are good. Like the Climb jacket, you will register and activate this, and every few weeks they will send you a software update for this as they get more and more information. Now, something that's very interesting about this is I believe I've got another photo here that shows basically this uses a microfiber inside the actual airbag setup. And this is some interesting technology with this. And this is what really drew me to this is so that is a cross section of one of the airbags. So what happens is when you blow that up with a ton of air, that restricts how far it can blow up. So instead of you getting this bulbous, like a balloon, you end up with this very tight, tensioned structure. And that's what allows this to offer that 8 chest protectors or 7 back protectors worth of protection. Is it's that tension on these fibers in here. And to me, that's what's so very cool about it. They had a demo online about this where literally they took a Ford van, they stuck these airbags underneath the van, and it lifted up the van. They stuck it underneath the tires of the van, and it lifted up the van. That's how even these airbags work. That sounds kind of like, if there is that much force in there, isn't it going to kill me instead of protect me? Everyone that has had one of these go off that has tested these says it feels like one hell of a punch. But one hell of a punch is better than something breaking. If it does go off, it is $299 to get these airbags replaced. You can't do it yourself. They kind of want you to send it off to do that. I can fully understand that. A lot of liability. Plus, they'd probably like that data from you to figure out what happened when it went off. Because once again, it's this data that they're accumulating helps make these better and better and better and better. This one goes for $1,599, which to me, it's pricey. But to me, that protection, I think, is worth it. So the thing that I like about this is with the Dainese, with the Climb, with all these others, they are gathering this data. And we said it before, this technology is going to become less and less expensive and more prevalent. So eventually people like Jacqui and I can afford this. What are your thoughts, Jacqui? I mean, I know we've talked about it before with this.
Yeah.
$1,600. I mean, we might be able to get a jacket together, but I don't think we're the same size.
Yeah. We're gonna have to timeshare a jacket with several of our friends out there. I mean,
Correct.
God bless. I love this technology. I think it's incredibly fascinating. It really does work. You and I have mentioned the air suits multiple times.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite examples is Marc Marquez working with Alpine Stars. He has had several catastrophic type crashes and walks away from them and absolutely says it's because of the air suit. So I think it's really fascinating technology, but these hovering around $1,600 to me is, I mean, God bless. Dainese is a luxury brand. Let's not play games here. Their gear is quite expensive. It's a beautiful premium product, so that's okay. But I'm more interested in something that is more approachable to the everyday rider. That if it's the same thing as really expensive helmets. They're super cool. I get that there's a lot of tech and whiz bangs in them, but if it can't fit on somebody's head, and by somebody I mean everybody, and if everybody isn't going to wear it, then what good does it do? So I kind of am a little bit more, I guess, egalitarian in my ideas of gear and apparel, and so I'm more interested in the brands that are doing this same technology, but for like $300. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that day to come.
I think it will get there. I think it will get there, and I think you've got to have these premium brands to start this and get people invested in this. And then once that technology will trickle down. I mean, you remember when it was the premium brands of cars that had the big fancy displays in the center of them, and now you can go buy a Kia with one in there. So yeah, I think it'll get there.
Yeah, I agree. And good job on steering clear of flat out calling this the D-bag suit, because I would have absolutely gone there in a second.
I mentioned a little bit. I alluded, but I didn't want to call anyone out because I have one.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, and by all means, Dainese, the jacket is gorgeous, but once you dropped $1,500 on me, I checked out. I was out of it. Anywho, so this is super exciting news. I will definitely be keeping an ear out for a little bit more less expensive version of this, and here on the show, the second we hear these stories, we're going to be bringing them to you directly here on the program. So make sure you hit notifications on. You're not going to want to miss that story and many others. We do this show every single week, keeping our finger on the pulse of what's going on out here in motorcycling and power sports. Speaking of, my second story for today is chatting and a little bit of a what's been going on over in the world of AFT, American Flat Track Racing. This season has been Woo! A doozy. It's been a really, really
Mhm.
exciting year over at AFT. If you have not been tuning in, shame on you. Secondly, you could, I'm sure, go catch up on some of their highlights and things out there on the internets. They do stream and they put up their own media all over the place. It has been a heck of a season. Their season
Yes.
just wound down this past week down in beautiful Florida. They had their final rounds down there in Volusia, and it was a super, super down to the wire, close, exciting racing as usual in all three classes for the 2022 season. They have had their super twins, they've had their production twins, and their singles class. They've had three classes running, as well as some of the folks over at Royal Enfield's Build Train Racing program. On your screen right now, you can see this year and last year's champion winner in the Super Twins class, and that is Mr. Jared Mees himself up there on the screen. Jared Mees put the finishing touches on his successful title defense as a thrilling 2022 season came to its conclusion at the Volusia Half Mile Finale down in beautiful Florida. The defending Mission Super Twins, presented by SNS Cycle King, was well positioned to retain the number one plate after dueling with title rivals on Friday. As a result, he only needed to avoid catastrophe in order to add yet another premier class crown to his already absolutely incredible resume. That near catastrophe came in the semi when Mees made the save of the season, perhaps the save of his career, after hitting a bump and going airborne and sideways with his front wheel loft high in the air. Somehow he not only stayed up on two wheels, but made a pass to take the checkered flag first in his semi. With that drama out of the way, Mees basically just had to show up for the main to win the title. Instead, he chose to fight, executing passes on the likes of Friday's winner, Jared Vanderkoy, and rookie hero Dallas Daniels to finish on the podium in third. Already established as one of the greatest riders in the history of the sport, Mees now boasts a remarkable assortment of accomplishments, including the 2012, 14, 15, 17, 18, 21, and 22 Grand National Championships, the 2009 2011 Grand National Twins Championships, and the 2012 Grand National Champion Singles Championship. So that is what has been going on over at AFT. Me is going home for the second year in a row amongst a huge string of championship titles. He went ahead and took first for the year, of course, and third on the box for the Volusia race. If you throw the next slides up, I've also got the results for the 2022 season in the other classes. So again, on your screen right now, Jared Mees in one. Go back, please. Jared Mees in one, but it was not a total blowout. Look at that, 298 to 276. Briar Bauman hot on his heels. Briar Bauman was Grand National Championship just a handful of years ago. He is absolutely itching to reclaim that title again and take it away from Jared Mees. Dallas Daniels, very young, very, very talented rider who also road races with the folks over at Moto America. He is an AMA Pro card holder in road racing with 267 coming in third in the Super Twins class. And this young man, I think Dallas Daniels is like 17 or 18 years old, just super, super talented. JD Beach, another hometown hero from here in Kentucky in four. Brandon Robinson in five. The next slide on your screen is going to be the production twins class. I'm particularly excited personally for that because my good buddy Jesse Janish with 320 points at the very, very top of the Grand National Championship pile, but right hot on his heels with 313. That is Corey Texter. Corey Texter also announcing his official, for reals this time, because I've heard him say it before, but his official retirement from AFT in second, Nick Armstrong third, Billy Ross four, Cole Zabala in five. But look at the discrepancy as you go down the standings. Jesse Janish in 320, hot on his heels, Corey Texter 313. Next, Nick Armstrong at 190. This year was a blowout. The only battle was between Jesse Janish and C-Tex all season long. Huge congratulations to Jesse Janish, one of my buddies in real life. Very, very, very talented rider. And again, this is in the Productions Twins class. Now, my next slide is going to be the singles class going on over there. The young, brand new rookie season Cody Kopp, son of Joe Kopp, who is a previous AMA Pro card holder, winning this singles class with 319 points. Next on the box was going to be Dalton Gauthier with 255, Morgan Mishler, another one of my buddies in real life, in third, Trevor Brunner 4, and Maxwell in fifth. So that is the end result of the 2022 AFT season. Again, this past year was a barn burner. So go check out some of the previous footage and videos. If you are not watching AFT racing, you need to be putting this on your calendar for 2023. They will return for the 2023 season. I am estimating they have not released their calendar that I have seen, but they kick off every year at Daytona during Bike Week. So we will not be hearing from these guys and gals until March is their official race. But with the conclusion of the 2022 season, we are officially heading into the silly season. And this is when everybody slices and dices and moves around and changes teams and changes classes. So it'll be exciting here in the off season. All of that news I'll be bringing to you here on the program. Josh, have you been following or keeping up with the folks over at AFT?
I've caught some of them, and yeah, I had a button there. My dog was barking, so I decided not to put you guys through that. I have watched some of those races, and it really is. It's a ton of talent in those races, and there's always excitement somewhere in that field that you're going to be able to see. So definitely, I've caught a number of them.
Yeah, it's super exciting racing. I love watching it. I love watching some of these folks, switch classes and then just absolutely crushed when they move classes around.
Yep.
But the real conversation as far as the Super Twins class is all Bauman versus Mies all day long. Those two have just been really quite untouchable.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to wait and see what happens in 2023, particularly with the conversation I've been having here with you on the show, Josh, about the fact that there's a little bit of rumor, and I love a rumor. There's been a little bit of rumor going on in the paddock that Indian Motorcycle is slowly starting to withdraw their funds, their cash, their open wallet going on over at AFT, and they are considering making the pivot and spending more money going on into the King of the Baggers and Bagger Racing League series going into 2023. So we'll all have to wait and see what happens.
For sure.
Now, what do you have for your second story? What do you have for your second story today, Josh?
So this this one I just want to put it in the garage and first off, we already talked. I'm the function over form guy. But when I saw this come up and I saw this, I was just like, oh. My jaw hit my desk. It took me a while to recover from that. So this is the Fantic XEF 450 Rally. I actually believe this is the Rally factory version that none of us will get. But I'll explain that in a second. So if you haven't heard of them, Fantic is an Italian, small Italian company. And I seem to have this affinity for Italian bikes for some odd reason. In the US, they do have a distributorship, but it mainly deals with their e-bikes, which is another topic that we kind of talk about sometimes here too. They've got some really cool ones of those, but this one, as soon as I saw it, I just started drooling instantly. So this has a 30-liter tank. For those of you that don't like the metric system, that is 7.9 gallons worth of fuel. That is go very far. This has a 7-inch nav system that is controlled. There's the handlebar controls for it. Because, when I always laugh when I need to do something with my nav and I'm on a gravel road, I'm like, how the hell am I going to push this as my arm's bouncing up and down? It's all controlled by the left-hand handlebar. This uses a 5mm carbon Kevlar skid plate. 5 millimeters is about that thick. That is a boatload of carbon. You can bounce that off some serious stuff and not have to worry about it. Upgraded on the front is a 300 millimeter front brake. It is a 245 millimeter rear. This bike is meant to go fast. It's meant to go fast over long distances, so you need to haul it down. KYB forks on the front and shock in the rear. 310 millimeters to travel in the front, 300 in the rear. All of this is very cool. It has an aero exhaust on it, as you can see. It rings in, they said, at quote-unquote less than 308 pounds. So this is a pretty light weight. So I mean, all this sounds super expensive if you think about it as a one-off. This is based off of the Yamaha WR450. So they took a really reliable platform, they threw all the fun stuff on it, and did everything that I would dream of about it. And this is what we end up with. So the factory version has a few CNC pieces. If you look up top there, you can see the CNC triple clamps. The hubs are all CNC machined also. There is a front-mounted oil cooler on this too, because these bikes run just basically wide open throttle for half their life. The factory version rings in at $24,500, right around that range. It also includes a numbered jersey and a toolbox. They're keeping version number 1. All of those are numbered. They're keeping version number 1. So 49 of these bad boys are available. If you only have $16,500 to spend, you can actually get the XEF 450 Rally, which I'm wondering how much kidneys go for, because I am considering it. This to me, I mean, this is one of those dream bikes. Growing up, everyone had pictures of Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff like that on their walls. I had pictures of weird, strange dirt bikes, like an old ATK that was somewhat exotic at the time. That this definitely fits that bill. I want to put it in my garage. If I can't afford that jacket I talked about earlier, though, this probably isn't going to happen either, unless Jacqui, friend, how about a loan?
So yet another thing that we're going to have, another piece of beautiful Italian equipment that we're going to have to timeshare. And I love that the jacket matches the bike, by the way. You did a really very,
red and black,
a very good job of this whole like Italian Mamma Mia theme today. This bike is absolutely beautiful. I love the graphics of it. I love the colorway. Look!
Yeah, see, they
Ashley nailed it. Thank you, Ashley. Ashley is on the trigger, man. Good job. So I think this bike is absolutely stunning. When you said Fantic, I kind of scratched my head for a second, because I know the name Fantic for a very, very different machine, because they do make several different platforms, several different styles of bikes. I'm in love with their bike called the Caballero, which is a really cool flat track, kind of cafe racer vibe bike that they do. They're very, very cool looking, very sexy. Of course, it's Italian company. The design is going to be stunning. But yeah, I don't blame you. This is gorgeous. For a 450, this thing, I'm sure, hauls the mail. I'm sure it is entirely too tall for me, but it is very, very beautiful. And I do not blame you for putting that on today's program, because she's an absolute stunner. Good for you. There we go. Yeah, some more shots of the cockpit. Just really clean, really tidy. I'm a geek for some of that technology. You already mentioned the dash that you use the hand controls on, which is awesome. Touch screen controls to me are really a very odd idea for motorcycles, because you need to keep your hands on the bars. Why would you want a touch screen? That's just me. That's
Especially
just
I'm bouncing across the ground. I mean, I'm bouncing across stuff. I never need to go a different direction on smooth pavement. I always need to look at it when I'm going on someplace ridiculous.
For sure. Well, with that and you being ridiculous, I think that brings us to the conclusion of today's program.
It does.
But thank you so much for bringing me this absolutely sexy piece of kit and a bike to match. I will absolutely have to put that on my bucket list when I win the lottery. And that's going to be it for today's program. So as always, thanks for clicking, liking, sharing, and tuning in and watching all of our shenanigans out here. We will be, just as a quick side note, some of your favorite faces will be out at the trade show SEMA out in Las Vegas at the end of the month. So if you are going to be there, I would love to say hello to you. So make sure you stick it in the comments. Let us know if you're going to be there, and let us know how we can come say hey. I would love to see you guys out at SEMA with some of your favorite Babcock's Media and Motorcycle and Power Sports News familiar faces. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys, and we'll be back next week. Have a great week, everybody. See you then.